Hey, it's Lemon. Welcome to the Backlogs. I know this is a bit off topic from our usual video game shenanigans, but I just came out of the theaters after having watched the newly released 28 Years Later, and God's teeth, I just gotta say it, this movie sucks. This movie sucks a lot. For those of you who want video games and only video games, you'll notice that we've got some Left 4 Dead playing in the background. Great game, still holds up. The challenge you're currently seeing is, can you beat Left 4 Dead with only pistols? The answer is, yeah, of course you can, they do damage. You gotta be quick about it and pray that your NPC companions don't get dragged off by smokers, which they always do, but yeah, it's doable if you know what you're doing. Sorry it's not a whole video, but there's really not much more to say about it. Shoot gun, win game. Easy. So instead, we're gonna repurpose that footage so I can talk about 28 Years Later without getting copyright struck to hell. But first, a little context. 28 Days Later was the first movie in the series, and let me tell ya, it was a great movie. Coming out in 2002, it introduced the running zombie into the mainstream media, and it was terrifying. The zombies sprint, the infection spreads from blood transmission, it happens nearly instantly, and the infected in question literally vomit blood on the victims to spread the disease as quickly as possible. Horrifying stuff. The movie itself is fantastic. The shots of London completely deserted are particularly haunting, and the dialogue and acting are all great. What's more, the movie treats its audience with respect. There's still plenty of exposition dumping, but that's because this is the first movie in the series, and the main character has been in a coma, so he doesn't know what the heck is going on. He's the audience stand-in, and thus the movie can give you the info you need to know as you need to know it. And the music. Even if you've never seen the movie, you've heard the soundtrack. In a Heartbeat by John Murphy is iconic, and does such a good job of driving up the tension throughout the end of the movie that it's been reused in several other movies, video game trailers, TV shows, and advertisements. Without getting too much into the weeds, the first movie is all about how different people are dealing with the infection, and how quickly society breaks down and goes back to a more violent, unlawful time when the end of the world is at hand. The twist? It's not the end of the world. It's just the United Kingdom that's infected, and the rest of the world is continuing on as normal, quarantining the UK and waiting to see what happens. Oh, and there's one very important point of the movie that I need to mention. The infected? They're slowly starving. The disease obviously spreads very quickly, but it's burning hot and fast. The infected are so focused on spreading and violently beating everything around them to death that they aren't eating. And an infected that doesn't eat eventually loses energy and dies. Which brings us to 28 weeks later. Movie number 2 is exactly what it says on the tin. The beginning of the movie is one of the best zombie scenes in living memory, with In the Heartbeat driving the tension immediately to 11. The first few minutes of the movie are still during the heydays of the infection, and then we skip ahead to 28 weeks later, where the UK is considered clear of infection and people are being repatriated back into the country. Now here's the thing. This movie, it's not fantastic. Personally, I'd give it like a 6 overall. The main problem is that the plot feels a bit too diabolus ex machina for my tastes. All the infected are dead from starvation, send the people back in. No, it doesn't matter that we're literally still clearing out the highly infectious bodies, it's fine. Oh, one of the characters from the intro is actually immune to the virus and somehow survived that extremely violent encounter? Better bring her into the populated zone for tests. No, we're not going to explain how she survived that, let alone the 28 weeks that followed. And no, we're not going to put this very important, extremely crucial to finding a cure person in a secure area. Let's just let her janitor husband waltz right in and give her a smooch. Oops, she's actually a carrier for the disease, and now the disease is starting all over again. Also, she's dead. Also, her husband is actually a smart infected for some reason. Also, the army put all the civilians in a single room, locked them in, and forgot that there was actually 2 doors, and decided to only guard one, which let the infected break in and spread the disease to almost every single person. Look, you get it, it's poorly done. The whole movie focuses on the 2 kids of the immune woman, who are also immune to the infection, and how 2 soldiers are trying to get them out of the country so they can help create a cure. And unlike the first movie, this one is more about the breakdown of the governmental agencies rather than the individual people themselves. And in case my previous statements weren't clear enough, the government fucks up every single chance they get. And back in 2007, when the movie came out, this felt ridiculous. Really? The government is going to drop the ball so hard that the infection spreads at an even faster rate than it did initially? Oh, right, 2020. Yeah, okay, fair. 1 extra credit point for realism, 7 out of 10. But yeah, decent enough movie, I guess, but definitely the weaker of the 2. No pun intended. The infection spreads, the kids get out, and the movie ends with a scene of the infected escaping to the mainland, with the Eiffel Tower in the background. Cut to black. The main problem it had, like many series, is that now that it was expanding on its idea, the threads were starting to show. The disease can live on in carriers? Cool idea. Why didn't the infected kill the woman though? We've seen them in action in the first movie, and they don't always just try to spread the disease. If someone isn't turning fast enough, they usually just beat the person to death. Any explanation on how she survived? No? Alright then. What about the smart infected? Why is he smart? Are there others? No comment. Alright, that's fine. I'm sure the next movie will explain that. That's foreshadowing, by the way. And then, despite making $40 million in profit at the box office, silence. No new movie for 17 years. Sure, there was a comic, but it didn't really explain anything. It covers the time period between the first and second movie, going into a little more detail about how the cities throughout the UK handled the infection. And it's actually a good read. Not too long, character arcs are well done, and there's some truly horrifying ideas in there. The mannequin is especially horrifying. And no, I will not elaborate on that. If you know, you know. But then, out of nowhere, a trailer. A glorious trailer. A trailer so well done it haunts my very dreams. It doesn't reveal too much, it's got an atmosphere that immediately puts you on the edge of your seat, and my god, whoever thought to use Boots by Rudyard Kipling as a background narration deserves a promotion. Finally, after 17 years, we're gonna get some answers. Or at the very least, a great zombie movie. Right? No. No, we did not. Instead, what we got was a complete clusterfuck of themes, zero atmosphere, camera work that makes the Blair Witch Project look like it was shot by professionals, and a storyline that has no idea what it wants to be. Terrible movie, complete waste of my time, and I'd like to see a manager. I'm gonna spoil several things from here on out, so if you want to see the movie for yourself, I appreciate you sticking around to this point. And I hope you enjoy it more than I did. But if you're not gonna see it, or if you're okay with spoilers, get ready, because I'm about to get mad. We start off with a flashback. Cool, we did this in every other movie, so props for consistency. Kids huddled in a room, parents obviously panicked, infected are on their way. Ah yeah, here we go. Infected arrive, kids and parents die, one child in particular survives and runs. His mom sacrifices herself to save him, and his dad lets himself be killed because he's the stereotypical lunatic priest and thinks this is Judgment Day. And it's right about here where I started to get uncomfortable. Priest dad, despite thinking this is the rapture, tells his son Jimmy to run before the zombies get in. I guess he wanted heaven for himself or something. Oh, and he gives him a golden cross necklace. Maybe dear old dad wants Jimmy to remember him. Or maybe it's because the movie doesn't trust you to remember who Jimmy is and is setting up for a sequel. Oops, did I say that out loud? Jimmy runs into the woods, and we skip ahead 28 years. We're on the island of Linsfern, which is a real island off of northern England that can only be accessed at low tide. Cool idea. Great location choice. Very obvious why the survivors have been living here. Except the movie is nervous that you won't get why people are living here. In fact, the movie doesn't trust you to get anything at all. But don't worry, a father and his son are about to head on to the mainland. And despite this kid living here for over 12 years, Dad is sure to tell him, by the way, son, we live on this island because the bridge is only accessible at low tide, and zombies can't get us at high tide because the current is too strong. I just figured now was the right time to tell you, since I'm sure this information wasn't drilled into you for the last 12 years. Movie, I am trying to get invested in your lore. Please take off the oven mitts. I promise, the brain rot hasn't set in that hard yet. I can handle simple concepts like water good, keep zombies off island. You know how you handle this appropriately? A single sentence. Just have dad and son leave the island, and have dad gently tell his son, remember, we've got 4 hours before the tide comes back in. Kid nods, and they move out. That's it. The audience understands the role the tide plays in the movie, and the conversation sounds natural and unforced. Easy. Anyway, moving on. Kiddo and dad are on the mainland now. Why? Because they're hunting infected. They're not out gathering food, despite several scenes where thousands of deer go galloping across the screen. They're here to get kill streaks, baby. Why? Well, despite the movie beating us over the head with other exposition, I have no goddamn clue. It's never explained. They're just hunting infected for, what, the sport? It's definitely not for resources. The characters are very loud about how the houses in the area have been picked over several times already. So what, they're just risking their lives for no reason? I don't get it. Oh, and by the way, the whole time we're doing this exposition dump intro, the movie just splices in several night vision scenes of the infected being angry and running around the woods, with zero reasoning, over and over again. It's completely jarring and makes no sense. 1 second it's daylight and we're following dad and son, the next it's maybe nighttime and there's like 5 naked infected hooting on screen. If there was any pacing at all in this movie, there sure as hell isn't any now. Speaking of the infected, they've gotten the Left 4 Dead treatment and are all specialized now. That's right, this footage is actually relevant. You've got 3 types of zombies. The slow crawlers, who are all overweight, weirdly gooey, and slowly stealth crawl everywhere eating worms. The runners, which are what we've seen for the last 2 movies. And the alphas, who are all 7 feet tall, have Planet Fitness memberships, and apparently can order other zombies around. Why are there specialized types? We don't know, and the movie won't tell you. We get a single sentence explaining the alphas, who allegedly responded to the rage virus as if they were taking steroids the entire time, but that's literally all we get. No explanation of why they can order others around, no explanation of why they can take several arrows to the chest without going down, just a half-assed shrug and we're moving on. On that note, what's up with the crawlers? Why are they gooey? Why are they all stealthy and obsessed with hunting worms? And why, in a movie series about zombies starving, are they very obviously not starving? They're not fast enough to catch deer, so how does this variant of zombie even exist? I mean, I know the answer. It's so they can use them to make tense almost gotcha moments, but the question stands. I don't want to go scene by scene because if I do, we'll be here all day, but I'll do my best to hit the main points with my bitchin' stick. So, we're on the mainland. Dad and kiddo are hunting zombies, talking very loudly the entire time, and constantly refusing to collect the arrows they use, despite multiple signs in the village scene earlier telling us that resources are low. They eventually get chased into a house by zombies, and hide in the attic. The zombies leave, and while they remain in the attic waiting for low tide, a giant herd of deer destroy the house by running past it and causing a minor earthquake. No, I did not make that up. Dad and kid now have to run back to the island, but they aren't being chased by zombies. So just to be clear, your movie now has a deer stampede that can break down houses, when it literally did nothing for the plot. Alright, that's a choice. Moving on. Back in the village, Kid's mom has health issues, and Kid hears that there's a doctor on the mainland. When Kid asks his dad about it, Dad says, "Oh, he's crazy now. We can't go to him." What's the justification? "Oh, well, when I was on patrol 7 years ago, we saw him laying out bodies and burning them one by one, and he waved at us like it was a normal day. So we ran, because he's clearly insane." Fucking what? He's a doctor. For all you know, he's trying to keep the infection contained. He might well be the last doctor in the UK, one of the most important resources you could have during an epidemic, and you didn't even bother to ask him what he was doing? So, Kid decides the best course of action is to set fire to one of the town buildings, then sneak his mom off the island to go find the doctor. Seems unnecessary, but sure, whatever. Kiddo then effortlessly guides his mom, who is suffering from delusions and constant confusion by the way, across the mainland. You know, the boy who's only ever been on the mainland once. Yesterday, in fact. And while he's doing that, sharp cut to a group of 8-ish soldiers who are on the mainland as well. Except they really suck at their jobs, because in a span of about 5 minutes, all but 3 of them are dead already. And after a short breather, they run into an alpha who rips off one of their heads, Mortal Kombat style, beats another soldier to death with said head, and the last soldier escapes by running away. Blah blah blah, mom and son bonding moments, and our soldier ends up meeting up with mom and kid and saving their lives by blowing up a bunch of zombies that were chasing them. Mom and kid should definitely have died in the explosion, but I guess you can dodge gas explosions by simply laying on the ground if you've got enough plot armor. Soldier explains that the rest of Europe is still normal while playing around on his phone, makes a bunch of Marvel tier quips throughout his very short screen time, and never ever explains how the rest of Europe, which we very clearly saw was under attack from the infected and 28 weeks later, is somehow fine. Every time he opens his mouth, it's to make a joke, or to yell and scream about whatever's happening around him. And that's it. On to the next scene, where our 3 protagonists find an abandoned train and stumble upon a zombie giving birth. No, you did not hear me wrong. Mom decides it's a great idea to wander up to said zombie, holds hands with it, and helps her through the childbirth since zombie dad is stuck in traffic. And lo and behold, when baby pops out, it's not infected. Completely normal human baby. Which doesn't make any goddamn sense, since babies share the blood of their mothers throughout pregnancy. But don't worry, the movie has an answer for that. Soldier gets killed by an alpha, mom and son run with the baby, and bump into the doctor, who shoots the alpha with a dart laced with morphine, which makes it sleepy. No idea where the man has been getting his 28 years worth of morphine inventory, but sure, why not? Anyway, time for medical answers. First off, how did a zombie give birth to a non-infected baby? Well, and I'm quoting the movie here, the miracles of the placenta. That's it. That's your explanation. And if that doesn't make sense, the doctor has a single follow-up sentence to put your mind at ease. I wondered if that might happen. And with all of my questions about how this works, and what would have happened to the uninfected baby if mom and kiddo hadn't stolen it from the zombie and waved away like a mildly annoying insect, we can move on to what's going on with mom. It's cancer. Mom has cancer. I'm not going to make a joke about that. What I will joke about is how ridiculous the doctor's character is. Remember all those spooky bone towers from the trailer? Yeah, that's just him. He's just been burning bodies and putting their bones into neat little towers and piles as a memorial to all the people who died. And why haven't the infected killed him? Oh, he's been covering himself in iodine for the last 28 years, because the infected hate iodine apparently. And also he has a knee-high river that the infected don't cross. So, yeah. Anyway, mom decides she wants to die peacefully. So she has the doctor blow dart kiddo with morphine, then has him give her several darts as well. After that, doctor very promptly cleans her skull and gives it to kiddo, who decides to put his mom's skull on top of the highest skull tower. Poor kid was probably still snowed out of his fucking mind, but hey, what better time to climb a mountain of skulls, am I right? Our kiddo then takes Plothole Baby back to the island, somehow crossing the wilderness again without incident, and drops her off at the gate. Then he goes back into the woods, deciding that he wants to live on the mainland a bit longer. 28 days, to be precise. Yes, thank you movie, I remember how 28 weeks later ended, thank you for the callback. And so we end the movie with the kiddo running from zombies, getting cornered, and then a strange group of people appearing, all in bright jumpsuits, who then use parkour, kickflips, and nunchucks to kill the incoming zombies, all while over-the-top corny music plays in the background. And then they all do a cute choreographed pose when they confirm all the zombies are dead. And the leader comes up to Kiddo with a flashy golden cross around his neck and says, "Hi, I'm Jimmy." Cut to black, the end. So, a few thoughts. First, the fuck did I just watch? Second, the fuck did I just watch? Third, see thoughts 1 and 2. Now, I could pick up the plot some more and go into detail about plot holes and the impossible amount of suspension of disbelief you have to do to stay invested, but I think my bulletproof summary kinda speaks for itself. So instead, let's go over the rest of the problems I had with this abomination of a movie. First off, where's the music? This series has proven time and time again that it can pick amazingly tense music. So where is it? Or a better question, why is the music so wrong? If you've already watched the movie, allow me a question. Do you remember a single song from the movie? A single beat? Do you remember the music at all? I do, but not because it was good. I remember it because it felt like the editor dropped all the files on the floor, and when he put it back together, every single scene had the wrong song in it. Tense chase scene across a field? Let's add some light flowing music. Mom found a decrepit train and is wandering away from the group. Loud thumping bass! And don't get me started about the audio bouncing. I swear, the music is either too loud or too soft in every scene. Secondly, who in God's name let a 14-year-old use the camera? This movie is obsessed with kill shots. Protagonist shoots an arrow, stop everything and zoom in on the arrow hitting the zombie. The camera even does this jerky spinning shot when it happens, like it's trying to get multiple angles of the kill and can't decide which one is cooler. I've never seen a movie do that before, and now I know why. There are also several scenes where the camera very visibly jerks around, and not in that fun hand cam way that 28 Weeks Later did. I'm talking smooth pan up, pause, then a sharp jerk, and then continue to pan up. I find it kind of hard to believe that was the best take they had, which means whoever was picking and choosing which shots to use just didn't give a damn. And don't get me started on the fight scenes. The camera jerks between shots so hard and fast that it's impossible to get any sense of space or understand what's going on frame by frame. And lastly, why did this movie think anyone gives a flying fuck about Jimmy? Yeah, he's a survivor from the intro. That's fine, but the movie tries so hard to remind us about him. Our protagonists are moving across the mainland. Oh look, some graffiti that says Jimmy was here. Oh, it's the end of the movie? Better throw the entire vibe off by injecting the equivalent of a Power Rangers fight scene into the last 2 minutes so the audience wonders what Jimmy did for those 28 years. Because yes, don't you worry, 28 years later is the start of a trilogy. Be still my beating heart. You know what the biggest kicker is? The trailer was amazing. Too good, in fact. It took every tense moment in the movie, put it masterfully together so it didn't actually reveal anything, and then, unlike the movie, added a soundtrack that actually added tension to those scenes. Whoever made that trailer was better at creating atmosphere than the director themselves. And it got me all hyped up thinking this movie would maintain that feeling of dread. Oh, and it also lied to us. That weird cult mask thing that you see in the trailer? Nothing to do with the film. That scene appears on screen for like 10 frames during one of those random flashes in the intro that I was talking about. Zero context, no explanation, just spooky bloody mask for 3 seconds, and then back to the intro. I'm just tired, boss. This movie could have been great. Hell, it could have been good, and I would have been fine with it. But instead, we got a movie that couldn't build tension, couldn't tell a story without beating its audience over the head with it, and is yet another Hollywood nostalgia cash grab added to the ever-growing pile of safe and boring remakes of movies from 20 years ago. And it's not gonna get better. 2 of the trailers I got before the movie were for Naked Gun and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Hollywood is officially out of ideas. And on that note, that's all I've got. Sorry if I wasn't the beacon of positivity and patience that I normally am in my videos, but after waiting 17 years for this absolute dog water of a movie, I think I'm allowed to be a little peeved. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to find a manager and ask for my money back. And also yell at someone about the fact that a movie hot dog costs like $11. Take care of yourselves, be good to one another, and I'll see you all again soon.